There's a new TV commercial that sparked debate online and is at the heart of this freedom of speech issue. Take a look.
Mom.
Yes, honey?
Dad told me that Cheerios is good for your heart. Is that true?
Says here that Cheerios has whole grain oats that can help remove some cholesterol, and that's heart healthy.
As you can see here, a seemingly biracial child with a Caucasian mother and a black father. The video has been viewed more than 1 million times, but they had to disable the comment section due to some of the hateful messages posted. Here with us is First Amendment expert George Freeman. He is also an attorney at the Jenner and Block law firm. Also joining us from Washington, D.C. is Soraya Kimley, who is an activist and cultural critic. Thank you both for joining us. We do appreciate it.
Sure.
George, I want to start with you, and I'm going to come to you, so just sit tight, Soraya. Let's talk about the freedom of speech that is afforded to us in the First Amendment. Very, very important. What is actually protected under the freedom of speech?
Well, actually, in the film you just showed, everyone's protected. That is to say, the people who make the ad are protected, the station that plays the ad is protected, and people who protest, boycott, or otherwise object to the ad are protected in doing so also. So in the end, the way it comes out is based on market power, PR, political correctness, but not really on the law. The law allows everyone to speak and to make their points known along the way.
But also along the way, as it relates to our First Amendment right to freedom of speech, there have been some limitations placed on speech. So let's discuss that. Where are the limitations?
The limitations really are very narrow. They come when you incite imminent lawless action. That's a long way from this ad, by the way. I mean, a long way. And it really almost never comes up in the television context or really even in the Facebook social media context. I mean, to really incite imminent lawless action is a very narrow First Amendment carve-out. And save for that, even if you say things that are really disgusting, that are clearly mean and kind of hateful, that's protected by the First Amendment.
And, you know, the real truth is, you know, our founding fathers were very, very smart. And while they anticipated and envisioned a whole lot of things and covered them with our founding documents, the Constitution and the amendments, I don't think anybody imagined the Wild West of the internet.
Well, yes and no. I mean, obviously they didn't imagine the internet, but in a sense, they had the Wild West in the early 1800s anyhow. I mean, tabloids said what they wanted. People hawked messages that were actually, in a certain way, fairly similar to what goes on the internet today. So in a way, they did kind of see this happening in the future somehow.
Well, yeah, that is amazing. Soraya, I want to bring you in. You're an activist, and you started a very successful campaign with Facebook to get them to change their policies, advertisers even to pull their ads because of very disturbing content. Just quickly tell us about the effort that you took on.
The effort that we took on was a campaign not actually to get Facebook to change their policies, but to have them remove double standards in interpretations of their policies. And so the First Amendment is really related to government actors. Facebook is a corporation that has in place review and moderation policies. Facebook is in the daily business of censoring, for lack of a better word, content. What we said was that their treatment of content when it came to hate, to safety, to credible threats was significantly and qualitatively different when the content referred to girls and women in particular. So we actually asked them to just apply their own rules more effectively. What we did was talk about the how. What the broader conversation is should they be in that business at all?
Indeed, and they were certainly responsive to you. Do you think it was because of the huge response? You put a petition on change.org and got quite a response. Do you think that was the pressure for them to take action?
I think two things. One is the petition on change.org had nothing to do with our campaign. That was started several years ago, and there are actually many of them. What we actually did is set up a system whereby consumers could directly communicate with advertisers. And it was fairly straightforward because there was so much egregious content. And we were able to demonstrate that these brands within Facebook, which is a regulated public space, were showing up sponsoring content that was violent and graphic. Now, a lot of people marginalize what we were trying to do by saying it's offensive content and the internet is offensive. I want to be pretty clear that what we were talking about were gross violations of human rights used for entertainment and for profit. I mean, these are images of girls and women being beaten, being brutalized, being drugged to be raped. And so to me, when you use a word like offensive, it's, you know, you might as well be talking about someone who's telling scatological jokes at dinner. That word does not apply to what we're talking about here. This was generally hateful and borderline inciting in many cases.
Understood. And I want to bring you back into this. I see you sit up a little bit. And just because we do not agree with what someone says, or that we find it reprehensible, where does the law apply? And what is the obligation of the company?
Yeah, I mean, I think the key is the company really has no obligation. I mean, it's trying to make money. That's what it's trying to. That's its mission. And by the same token, pressure can be brought to bear on it by its consumers. And that's apparently what happened here, and that's perfectly fine. On the other hand, if they want to take the hit and not listen to their consumers and put on the air, put on their pages something that might be considered offensive by many of us, they can do that too. It's their First Amendment. You know, they're the publisher in a sense. So really, it's a matter of how it plays out in the economic and PR realm is really telling as to how these adventures turn out. The law really doesn't have much to do with it, I got to say.
I agree.
One area where the law might apply, George, and very quickly, is the issue of the National Labor Relations Board has taken on several cases where employees have been fired based on Facebook status and things that they put on Facebook. Is there a legal precedent out there, and what's the trend in this regard?
Yeah, well, that's kind of a new world of companies being responsible ultimately for what their employees put on social media that might come back to haunt the companies, both in the labor area, in the SEC area, if there are disclosures about the company. I mean, we have to remember social media is no different than any other writing. People somehow think it's different. It's the same law applies. So if you make statements that are discriminatory, if you make statements that could bind your company in terms of an NLRB or SEC kind of violation, the company is going to be responsible and the employee is going to be in trouble. Just as if they would write an email or if they would write a letter saying the same things.
We have to all keep that in mind. We're going to have to stop right there. George Freeman, thank you so much for your expertise. Sarai Kimberly, thank you so much for coming on, sharing your story. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
And this is Arise America.